morning, Sequim. My name is Jane Pryne. I'm the interim superintendent of the Sequim School District. And today I have the entire business office with me. Well, almost. We have one person that's out, but we have the rest of the business office here. So if we could introduce ourselves, I'll start with the Business and Finance Operations Director.
Hello, my name is Darlene Applin, Director of Business Operations and Finance.
Hello, Betsy Zumkeller, Fiscal Specialist.
And Betsy's name may be changing in another year or so. Betsy just got engaged. We're so excited. Yes.
Ooh.
So congratulations.
My name is Haley Montelius, and I am a part of the payroll and benefits department.
So we are happy the whole business office is here. We won't keep them too long because they have a lot of business to do. But I'm going to ask you some questions, and I think this will just be kind of fun. So I will start with Haley. If you could have dinner with one historical figure, who would it be and why?
So I picked J.R.R. Tolkien for a couple of different reasons. I absolutely love his books. Lord of the Rings is my favorite story. Due to it, it's just a story full of valor and honor and perseverance, and that's how I would like to imagine to live my life. As well as I deeply respect him for being a World War I veteran. He was a professor, so a great scholar. And him and his wife were married for the past 55 years. So he actually wrote a story about him and his wife and embodied it in one of the greatest love stories of all time.
Wow. I didn't know all that about J.R.R. Tolkien. I have read the trilogy. Actually, in high school, we had to read it in 9 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
I never spent so much time reading it and I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it is a fabulous trilogy.
Yes.
All righty. Darlene, if you could have dinner with one historical figure, who would it be and why?
I chose Amelia Earhart, and even when I was a child, I was always fascinated with her. And I just think that she must have been so adventurous and obviously courageous to be the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic and across the United States on a nonstop flight. And but I think that fear and the courage combined, and she still went forth to go out on a trip to circumnavigate the world, even though she did not make it. It's just, I don't know, it's just a figure that I just would love to be modeled after for so much courage, and it would be fun to talk to her and see what she was thinking, because I'd be scared to death.
Well, she didn't let fear stand in her way, did she?
No.
And I imagine she had some moments where she was afraid. I mean, just going across the country, let alone transatlantically, would be in an airplane that you weren't sure was going to make it.
That's
would
right.
be very scary. So she is somebody that would be fascinating to meet. And Betsy, who would you like to meet?
I picked J.K. Rowling, who is a writer. The writer is a role model to never give up on your passion and creativity. So I picked J.K. Rowling.
Do you remember I heard about her when she had first become famous, and that she used to sit in a coffee shop and write on the back of napkins the story that she had in her head. And I think she was collecting food stamps and all kinds of things at that time because she just had no money and she was a single mom. And boy, there's a true testament to somebody that has grit and determination.
Definitely.
Good. Thank you. All righty. Darlene, what was the last thing you read that inspired you?
Well, I thought, and I thought, oh, this is so easy, because I have this quote saved on my phone, and it's actually a quote that I came across on Facebook, and it was posted on this group. It's called The Gentle Mama. And even though my children are all grown up and I have grandchildren, many years I dealt with preschool-age children, and this quote just... I just love it. It's inspirational. And so the quote is written by Brooke Hampton, who is an author, and writes inspirational quotes. And it's this is it. Speak to your children as if they are the wisest, kindest, most beautiful and magical humans on the earth. For what they believe is what they will become. And the best part of it is the word become is a capital B, E for B, and then me. So be me, and we know that, we have to be great role models for our children, but yeah, we want them to grow up to be the best they can be.
That is a fabulous, fabulous quote. And it's true. I mean, children learn what they live. Mm-hmm. So very good. Thank you. Betsy, what have you heard, read, or seen that inspired you?
I have a high school friend that just wrote a book called Jade Heart, which is about a teacher that was married in a rough relationship, and she left that relationship to set out to get away from the violence that she was enduring. And she moved to this small country place where she continued teaching. And they tried to ruin her teaching career, but she kept pushing forward, and she ended up beating it and meeting her significant other, her spouse at that time. And it was just a motivating book that my high school friend that wrote.
Wow. So has it been published?
Yes, it is. It's on Amazon.com. It's called Jade Heart.
And who's the author?
Bobby Bryan is her name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if I can just ask, I'm just going to take a little segue here. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Oroville, California.
Okay.
It's Oroville High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if she was local or...
Nope, California.
Got it. Thank you. Haley, what have you seen, heard, or read that has inspired you?
So recently I was traveling and I happened to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast occasionally. And the one I listened to was about Marcus Luttrell, who is the author of Lone Survivor. I've actually never seen the movie, but I heard that it's a great story. And pretty much his little backstory, he's a Navy SEAL that goes into Afghanistan, and he is the lone survivor. He is the only one out of his, group that makes it out. And the story just really shows that, he has determination and grit, and he depended on others for his life. And it creates such a good bond. I mean, he talks about teamwork and how even though at times your team is not meshing, you still have to depend on them. And you have to respect what they do because they're there for a reason. So it was just a really incredible story, and it makes me feel very grateful for what we have, for sure.
Well, I will tell you, when your team dissolves, you can't get a lot of work done.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're in a war, I would think that your team could never dissolve if you wanted to get out of it alive.
Right.
Thank you. All righty. Well, this is fun. With the holidays coming, what is your favorite holiday tradition? Betsy?
My favorite holiday tradition is spending it with the family. This is a time to have fun and spread cheer and have some relaxing time.
Good. Thank you. Darlene?
Okay, well, I have two for both sides of my family. So our family always gets together each year to make Norwegian Lefse. So my husband's whole family is Norwegian, and then mine is Scandinavian. So Lefse is made from potato, and it's like made into tortilla-shaped yumminess. So you put butter and sugar and cinnamon on it and roll them up and eat them. They're so good. So, but it's a tradition that starts with my husband's grandma and his mom and his sisters, and then our daughters and our grandkids and great-grandkids, actually.
Oh.
So all the girls get together and they make lefse. So that's happening this Saturday. And then the other one is from my mom, and my mom has passed away. She passed away almost 2 years ago, but she always would make at least 10 pumpkin pies the day before Thanksgiving. And so my sister and my niece were always part of that. And so since my mom has passed away, my house is now the place that happens. And so now my daughter's part of that. And so they come over the day before Thanksgiving, and we just make a lot of pumpkin pies.
So what do you do with all those pumpkin pies? Do you have that many people to eat, like 10 of them?
Yeah, we have a large family. Usually when we have a family gathering, there's about 40 of us.
Oh.
And so we take some of them, and then my sister, her family is large on her husband's side, and they take the rest of them and spread them out that way.
Very cool. Well, I'll tell you, I grew up in a little town in South Dakota where Lefse during this time of year was like this huge deal. They had like the whole community bought tickets to go eat Lefse. So when you said that, I thought, oh, that reminds me of when I was a kid. Good. Haley.
Well, that certainly sounds delicious. I'll have to try some. Within my family, we are really big into food. I was very blessed as a child to have a mother that could cook, and that taught me so much. And so every year for Thanksgiving or for Christmas, we'd have huge relish trays and do, classic turkey and prime rib and just, really enjoy each other's company. But one thing that I also really like to do is we will go up into the woods and cut our own Christmas tree. So we make a whole day where, you want to pick out the perfect Christmas tree. It drives my husband absolutely nuts. So he thinks that we found one. I'm like, nope, we got to get our 15-foot perfect tree.
Well, that sounds like fun. So do you get the Christmas tree during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, or do you do that afterwards on a different weekend?
We normally do it afterwards. So we try to do it the first weekend of December or even second, too.
And where do you go?
There's actually, you can go to the service park building, and they have a map of all the areas that you can cut down trees. So we just go up Palo Alto to an area that we can and just drive the roads, sometimes even hike along and get your saw out and put in the back of your truck and on your way.
Very cool. And that reminded me again when I was growing up, my dad owned his own post and pole plant. So he would go out in the woods and cut the trees down. Then he would treat them and sell the wood. And so we always had the best Christmas trees growing up because he knew and he would always only top the trees. He would never cut a tree down. Mm-hmm. So I always felt that was okay too, that we didn't chop the tree down. But yeah, how fun. Mm-hmm. So here was the tradition in my family with our son. We'd go to Home Depot. And we would pick out whatever tree you want from this aisle. So yeah, in Tucson, you didn't have Christmas tree farms. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, well, this is fun. All right, last question. Can you share a time when you saw belonging play a vital role in a staff member or a student's life, Haley?
So my mom worked here a couple of years ago, and she was the secretary for the SOS program, and when it was still in the auditorium. And I just remember, I went to high school here, and I was not involved in the program, so I didn't really know what it was a lot about. But I saw these kids that, weren't necessarily, school wasn't their kind of thing, but they still had, the encouragement as well as, the hard work to finish, And so I just thought it was such a great program to take those who didn't necessarily, they feel belonged to something else, and they were taken in by the SOS program. And a lot of seniors graduated. It's a great thing.
It is. Great. Thank you. Betsy, how about you?
So I was the color guard coach at one time, and we were creating a program for Disneyland. So we were creating a show, and my approach to the students was they had to create their own part of the show. So when they created it, they were able to bring out, their creativity, and they own it. So that's how I seen that each student was able to own their part of the show was they created it. So I had a lot of students that went through the program, and they were able to learn and create the show and own it. And that's where I seen the belonging from.
Well, it really makes a difference when you have a voice in something, doesn't it?
It
you do
does.
have a lot more ownership.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch them grow and create something that they didn't know they could do.
That is fun.
Yeah.
And Darlene, last but never least.
Okay, well, I just want to say I really appreciate that we have been able to celebrate the different departments in our building, especially because that's where we're all housed, but that we can let everyone know that we celebrate them and that we all belong, even though we're all doing different jobs, and that, we're all a part of the whole Sequim School District. And I just think that we all appreciate it when we're celebrated, and it's a lot of fun.
And it is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We have potlucks, and then we celebrate a department, and then it's their big day. And yeah, it is very fun. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you all for coming today. It's been a pleasure talking with all of you. And on that note, Sequim, happy Friday and have a great weekend. And we will be back next week. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and have a fantastic Friday, Sequim.